one as backup for another.
Yep.
Okay. Good. Okay. I hope my screen is visible, guys.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So, as a general evaluator, right? So, and actually, I am doing it for the first time today. So, as a general evaluator, of course, your role is to do what you will usually do as a speech evaluator, but for a bigger context. You will evaluate the entire meeting. So, as a general evaluator, you are the sort of the MC for the entire general evaluation segment. You have a tag team with you. Tag is timer, R counter, and grammarian. So, and there are speech evaluators as well. And sometimes during special meetings or whenever the club prefers to, there is another evaluator called the table topics evaluator. Okay. What happens is in some meeting we will decide, okay, there are table topic speakers. Let's give them a quick evaluation as well. So in that case, there is an additional role player. There is also another role player called evaluator of evaluators, meaning there are speech evaluators, right? Two or three or one or five, however the club has. Sometimes, as a training, there is a role called evaluating the evaluators. There will be one person who will come back and actually tell how the evaluators did their job. So both the evaluator of evaluators and table topics evaluators are special roles. They are not usually prevalent in all meetings, but whenever they are in a meeting as a general evaluator, they are part of your team, Akshaya. Okay, whenever you play the general evaluator. So generally what a GE does is first up, when a meeting starts, you must know the meeting flow. I will recount it for you. In the meeting flow, the Toastmaster of the day will introduce a word or two about the GE segment and then hand over control to you. As a general evaluator, there is a script in front of you to follow as well. Your job is to explain your role to the team, in the meeting. Your role is to observe, track, and report every aspect of the meeting. When we say every aspect, it includes time, it includes the organizing, it includes the pre-meeting communication and during the meeting, how proceedings happen, and any reports or announcements that are made during the meeting times as well. Okay, Priyank has joined. Hi, Priyank. I've just started and we are recording this meeting as well, Priyank, for your information.
Yeah. Thank you.
So as a general, welcome, Priyank. So as a general evaluator, you will also, if we are in the physical space, right? If you are not in digital, if you're physically meeting, a general evaluator also notes down how well the seating arrangements are, how nicely or how organized the meeting room itself is set up. Is there a banner displayed? Is there a board that is kept with all of the information written? Are the club inventory like ribbons, like report cards, timer cards, and other trophies or any other club material, are they displayed properly? Are people able to find the right either meeting link if it is digital or the meeting room if it is physical? Are people able to figure it out? Is the AC in control? Are people having the right virtual backgrounds, etc.? I've told a lot of things, but I hope you can understand the essence of it. As a general evaluator, everything is under your purview to evaluate, of course, constructively, but it is there for you as a general evaluator to look into, pay attention to, and suggest improvements or highlight the good points. So that's what a general evaluator does in simple terms, in a long sentence. In addition to being alone on this, you also have a team actually. So like I said, the tag team is there, speech evaluators are there, and Priyank, because you missed it, I will recount again. In addition to having speech evaluators and tag team, there are also on-demand roles or the occasional meetings where you can have additional roles like evaluation of evaluators. So you bring in an evaluator and that evaluator actually evaluates how well the other evaluators did. So evaluate the evaluators. There is also something called table topics evaluator. Sometimes we just ask a person to evaluate every table topic speech that happened in the meeting. And there are specific rules for how a table topics evaluator should do. A table topics itself is a 2-minute speech, right? So you don't get the original 3-minute for evaluations. A table topics evaluator gets a maximum of 30 seconds per speech. So if there are 5 speakers, then 5 into 30 seconds, 2.5 minutes. That's how you calculate. Those two are additional roles, and you may have it sometimes, you may not have it generally. So in a meeting flow, when the Toastmaster hands over to you today, Akshaya, let me take you as an example and be very specific. When they give the control to you, Akshaya, here is the script on the screen. This is what you read out or you speak out. As a general evaluator, my role is to observe, track, and report on every aspect of the meeting. Some of the most important aspects I will observe are time management, facilities, role players, quality of the meeting, hospitality, and general professionalism in the forum. General professionalism means people should not, cross talk, should not suddenly switch on their videos randomly or their audios random fashion. They should not have funny looking backgrounds or distracting backgrounds. All such things, not no regional language influence during the speaking. Basically, just maintaining the decorum of it. You also say I have a team of evaluators called the tag team. Tag, I hope you all know, timer, R counter, grammarian, TAG, who will help me in tracking the different aspects of evaluation. And then you do the first activity or the first action, Akshaya. You introduce to the people in the meeting the tag team. So first you will call on the timer. Today's timer, please note this, Akshaya. In the agenda, we mentioned it is Abhinaya. There was a small change. It will be Ajay Sharma. Ajay Sharma will be the timer in today's meeting. So you will first call on Ajay. So Ajay will come onto the screen. He will explain what a timer role is, and then he will give the control back to you. Then you call on the R counter. Again, the same thing happens. Then you get the control. And then you call on the grammarian. Your job is also to see if timer, R counter, grammarian explain their roles properly. If they do all that is expected out of them, if they do it well, a thumbs up to them. If they miss something, you note it down, and at the end, when you give your report, you mention that as well. After the tag team explains their role, you say, I also have a set of speech evaluators if there are prepared speakers in the meeting. If, like today, there are no prepared speeches, so there is no speech evaluator, so you can ignore that line or skip that line. If there are speech evaluators, you tell them, we also have speech evaluators. We will introduce them later. The reason you say that is because anyway, speech evaluators will be introduced and called on while they explain the objectives to the speaker, right? So we don't do it twice. And then you say at the end of the meeting, when called upon by the TMOD, I will, along with my team, give you the report of the general evaluation. You say this, you can, and you conclude the first segment, Akshaya. Okay. Then what happens is you start looking at how is the TMOD doing and how are the transitions between speakers. Is every speaker able to do their speech well? Is every evaluator explaining their objectives properly? How is the table topic segment going? Is it constructive? Is it positive? Are the topics simple, nice, really good? How is the overall flow of the meeting? How is the time in the meeting? Are we keeping time? Are we missing time? Are we doing the right formal procedures properly or not? And then you just keep track of all of them. And then finally, when every other segment is over, you will get the control again. When you get the control, Akshaya, the first thing you do is again something like following this, okay, the script. Your first action will be to call on the tag team. So you invite the tag team, ask them to give their, you first call on the speech evaluators, okay, sort of like go from the bottom. You call the speech evaluators, ask them to evaluate. This is because we don't want the speech evaluators to be influenced by the tag report, okay. So for example, if the timer is saying both the speakers are disqualified, an evaluator need not be influenced by that. An evaluation is outside of all this. That's the Toastmaster guidance, because whether you are qualified or not, you deserve to get a proper evaluation. Whether you had R counts or not, you get a proper evaluation. So if the evaluator has already found it, then so be it. But then you just call on the speech evaluators, ask them to record their evaluations. Then you go to the tag team, timer, R counter, grammarian, let them give their reports. Once they're all done, is your turn, Akshaya, then as a general evaluator to give your report. In your report, you actually, okay, there is a report which I will share with you. In that report, you will of course go through everything that there is about the meeting, and you can actually read out on what are all the things that happened in the meeting, how did they go, how was the overall quality, etc. To basically give a full summary. Okay, here I am bringing up the report. I hope you can see it.
Yes.
Have these filled up. How was the time management? Did it start on time? Did it end on time? Here are some keys for you to be able to speak. Okay, you can talk about it says venue arrangements. Obviously, it was made when we had the physical world, but how was the overall arrangement where people welcomed in the meeting, where the guests allowed to come in properly, where they given the right background images to use, were they properly briefed? How was the agenda? Was the agenda shared on time? Did the meeting arrangement in terms of role players, in terms of clarity of flow, were they all okay? Is there any recommendation that we have for the future meetings? Right. So all of this you report. One of the key things that we must, as GEs, report are two things. Of course, one is time. Another what is very important for any club is how are the guests treated. There will be many newcomers, right? If you see, I think you guys have noticed we are nowadays taking a very conscious effort to address guests when we start, welcoming them on board, and asking them a feedback at the start of the meeting and at the end of the meeting as well. That is also something you really look into. Okay, so yeah, that's the brief of GE. Any questions? Your side.
Yes, Raghavan. So I was just kind of worried about the TT evaluation, right? So like you said, I mean, it's a special role, and for today's meeting, we don't have a TT evaluator, role, right? So on what basis do I kind of give feedback on the TT speakers?
You don't. You only say that the TT. So your job is not to evaluate the speakers. Okay, you do
Mm,
not evaluate any of the speaker per se, meaning the
okay.
prepared speaker, because there are
Okay.
different set of role plays to do that.
Mm,
All that you can say or comment on is how was the TT segment? How did the TT master play that role? Did
okay.
he or she give the right kind of topics that
Okay.
were speakable?
Okay.
Were they too complicated? Were they fun? Were they easy? Was the overall session engaging?
Okay.
Those kind of remarks are what you can give or should give
Okay.
as a GE.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't go into how the speaker spoke. If there
Okay.
are good things, of course, you can always say the good things. There is no
Mm-hmm.
no restrictions there. But whenever you want to point out anything else, then leave it to the specific role players.
Okay. Got it.
Raghavanji, one request. Maybe we
Yes,
can.
Venkat, you're a little low on voice, but please speak
Okay.
up.
Okay. One request is maybe we can just say one live one example of how we do this G report. How do we present in the end? Like now we can say like from the start and beginning to end. How we
Sure, sure. So
so
let
that
me
she
let me
can
do a
maybe she, yeah, so that she
oh,
can understand how what we tell about TT segment or what we say about this T-Mod, how he did and maybe is prepared speech. So
sure,
that is what.
sure. So let me do a quick mock. Okay. So
Mhm.
like thank you Toastmaster of the day. Thank you to every role player for all of your reports. It was really engaging and it was really enlightening for all of the members. Coming to my report, starting off with time, our meeting did start on time. However, we don't seem to be ending on time. We might be a little delayed. We're already discussing whether we should extend the meeting time or not. But that is something I request all of the members in the club in the meeting to be aware of all times. Look, coming to the arrangements of the overall meeting, the meeting invite was shared on time. This time the agenda was sent a little later. Maybe we can improve on that and keep sending the agenda along with the invitation itself. The marketing was done properly. The role players were intimated on time, and at the start of the meeting, a quick check was done. All the guests were properly welcomed, and the sergeant at arms did post a common background that can be used by everybody. These are very well done. On the meeting flow itself, the meeting flow was seamless. The transitions were smooth. All of the role players handed back control properly. The TMOD had a really nicely prepared and executed script. Every role player played their role to perfection. TT Master had a very engaging segment wherein all speakers were welcome and all speakers were given easy topics that they could speak on, and they were all really encouraged. The tag team report was also crisp. I would also appreciate every other role player who played a part today. Thank you for a good job done. I'm happy with the overall quality of the meeting today. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Great.
Okay. Yeah. So that
Thank you.
I'm sure this will exactly be the report for today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Yes.
sure.
If
I'm sure
if
it will
if
be.
I get the recording as soon as possible.
For sure. No, I'm saying even forget everything else, right? Even if
Yes.
you're going to report just after the meeting, I'm sure we are still going to be struggling for time. And I'm sure the TT segment is going to be engaging and entertaining. I know for sure I didn't send the agenda on time, so that will be okay. I know marketing was done well, and I know the speakers would have done a good job, and every role player would have played their part. So yeah, and I'm sure Sergeant at Arms would upload the pictures on time. So yeah, we'll see. The challenge is if we'll find something else in this. But yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Hmm? Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions? Priyank, all clear,
Is
sir?
one, I mean, yeah, is do we have this in every meeting, or haven't, I mean, I haven't noticed, because generally, I mean, once we have this general evaluator, they if he or she passes on to the tag team, and then it goes back to team order. Have I failed to observe that?
Oh, you pinged me. I remember you pinged me one day after I gave an general evaluation report actually, Priyank. So you have heard it, but maybe you
Mm-hmm.
have not
I have
realized
not
that
observed it properly. Yeah.
I have not
Okay.
observed it as it is.
Okay.
That's also maybe because of transitions, because by the time general evaluator comes to his or her report, the thing
Mm-hmm.
that you would mostly hear are, okay, guys, we are at the end of time. We will take 15 more minutes before we can wrap up. If you want to drop off, you can drop off. That will mostly be said by the general evaluator. Okay, and then
Correct.
his or her report will start. So maybe that's where it gets stuck. But every meeting, we have the general evaluator report done, Priya. In fact, today morning I went through the last week's recording, and
Mm-hmm.
I saw Badri giving his general evaluator report as well. So every
Yeah.
week this happens, Priyank, and
Okay.
you do summarize it all.
Yeah, I'll keep
How,
in mind
how
from
long,
today.
yeah, how long or short the report is, that depends on the GE, that
Right.
depends on the time, of course, but then there is a definite GE report that goes in.
Okay. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Anything else?
Um, no, Raghavan. Yeah, nothing from my side.
Okay, let me stop the recording.
Mm-hmm.